Archiving started.
Today we're going to have a quick little lecture about political parties. Now remember, this is in addition to the material in your textbook. When you think about political parties, it really is difficult to separate them from interest groups, from campaigns, and from elections. So don't make the mistake of thinking each chapter in your textbook is separate. You really do have to link the material from one chapter to the next. Now, if you think about political parties and you think about a democracy of any size, there really is no other way to function. How would we elect anyone to office without political parties? How would things be organized? Of course, nothing says that 2 is the magic number of political parties. It seems to work for us, and in my opinion, it has worked very well. It's also my opinion that I hope we keep it that way. But again, that's just my opinion. If you look at the definition of political parties, persons who seek to control a government through the winning of elections and the holding of public office. The key there is the winning of elections. Political parties and interest groups are very, very similar. Many of the functions that they have do the same thing. They aim for the same kind of influence. The biggest difference is holding office, is winning elections. That's the biggest change. When you think about the purpose of a political party, remember they are after government, not just politics. Everybody remember that? Politics is everywhere. Government is the actual running of these affairs. Think chapter 1, your memory. Political party is out to win and to hold public office. Interest groups are primarily trying to influence the government. Once an interest group makes the move to run a person for political office, they've crossed over to a political party and are no longer an interest group. When you think about these two again, I want to bring up the basic difference. Interest groups tend to articulate interests. You okay with that? Remember, that means to speak, that means to state an interest. Think of all the different interest groups that are out there and how they're trying to get their message across. When you think of political parties in the United States, and I want to emphasize that, in the United States, not in other countries, political parties tend to aggregate. They will bring things together. Now, see this lovely drawing of an umbrella? Yeah, I know, it's pretty bad. But the umbrella signifies the political party. And each political party, the Republicans and the Democrats at this time in our country's history, try to aggregate, try to bring as many interests underneath their umbrella so that they will have articulated interests from a number of different groups, but will bring them together. So as you can see, you might have interests from unions, from environmental groups, from professionals, from technology, from doctors, from the NRA, you get the picture, all trying to come under one umbrella, and the other political party tries to do the same. So just by that one little act of aggregating all these interests, you are going to see that our two political parties are more similar than they are different. And again, in my opinion, that's been a saving grace in this country, not in other countries. Okay, let's keep going, talking about political parties. In a political system, you've got to have at least 2 parties in order to have a choice. Remember, Russia always had elections. They decided that they were going to have a majority rule, but of course there was only one party to vote for. In this country, think about the legitimacy of our elections, the legitimacy of our political parties. Every 4 years or so, power changes hands. That's pretty phenomenal, and again, very unusual if you look at the world. Now, notice the circle around legitimacy. Remember that word? Some of you didn't quite get it back in the first chapter. Legitimacy means that you have the right to do something. It doesn't mean that we have to agree with it, just that we agree that that political institution has the right to do it, even if we think they're nuts. That's besides the point. If they have the right to do it, it's legitimate. When you think about the political system, again, I'm trying to get you to go back to the previous chapters. Think how political parties are involved in the demands, in the supports, in the output, in the feedback of the political system. If you don't remember, check back in your notes. Again, in this country, our political parties tend to be very pragmatic. They are not heavily ideological as they are in many other countries. Now, that may be changing, but I hope not. When you move along and you talk about the two-party system, we have stayed that way for quite a while. Of course, the names have changed. The Democrats in the 1800s are certainly nowhere near the Democrats of today, but the history part of the chapter really is not important. We have been able to keep a two-party system, and we've been able to stay stable for over 200 years. With so many interest groups, if we become a multi-party system, we would be required to need coalitions in order to have government. Now, if you think about gridlock in today's Congress with two parties, imagine if you had a multi-party system. Now, that's a little bit more information for another course, but I do want you to think about it. I don't like that. Okay, I'm stopping.